Hello all, I'm Abhilash. I along with my friend Harish is going to explain paper on PCA Shift, a more distinctive representation of local image descriptors. About this paper was written by Yankee and Rahul Shukthankar from the School of Computer Science, and it is published in IEEE Computer Society Conference on Computer Vision and Pattern Recognition in the year 2004. What basically is this? This is a stable local feature detection and representation. Means actually the stable local feature detection and representation is essential for many image registration and object recognition algorithms. Shift scale invariant feature transform plays an important role in local image descriptor. We will be studying how Shift is used as a local image descriptor as mentioned in the slide, how this PCA is going to increase computational efficiency, and where PCA is added to the Shift algorithm, etc. And this paper also demonstrates that PCA based local descriptors are more distinctive, more robust to image deformations, and more compact than the standard Shift representation. We also this paper generally this paper presents results showing that using these descriptors in an image retrieval application results in increased accuracy and faster matching. Means it's robust to all scale, invariant, shift, rotation, all image transforms. First of all, what is shift? Shift is scale invariant feature transform. As the name indicates that if you are going to match two images irrespective of their scales, this algorithm is going to match these two images. It is the best suitable local image descriptor. It has many applications like object recognition, image stitching, image mapping, 3D modeling, gesture recognition, and video tracking. Shift algorithm matches two images with the key points associated with the respective images. What basically the key point? Key points are the interest points of the image which will well describe the objects. Even it is scaled rotator and means in which the image is going is transformed affine. Even if this in this case also key points helps in detection of images. Generally the shift algorithm, any algorithm in computer vision, you are going to do pre-processing in order to reduce noise. This is done by convolving a Gaussian or an averaging filter with an image. Generally the shift algorithm consists of four parts: scale space, peak selection, key point description, orientation assignment, key point descriptor. Finally you will be getting key point descriptor in order to match features with the other image. You generally key point matching is done through Euclidean distance. What is scale space peak selection? In scale space peak selection, you will be taking image and you will be convolving with the series of scales of a Gaussian filter. Means you will be taking an image, you will be convolving with k sigma variance Gaussian filter. You will be taking that image, you will be taking k square sigma, k cube sigma. You will be taking the series of these filters and you will be taking difference of the Gaussian of these scales, subsequent outputs, and you will be getting some set of outputs. This is output of one set of octave. Say and in second set of octave you will be reducing the size of an image. Means you will be subsampling the size of the image. Means if the image is say 512 cross 512, the whole process first will be done for 512 cross 512, and you will be reducing the size of an image to 256 cross 256, and you will be doing the same set of procedures for this 256 cross 256, and this will be like a pyramid and it will be going it goes on continuously up to some extent. Generally, in key point selection, we will be taking the output of first octave. We will be taking some outputs of first octave, and we will be making that pixel value to be the potential pixel point, and you will be comparing this pixel to the neighboring pixel outputs, neighboring image outputs. See, if you want to consider make this pixel to be the potential pixel point, you will be comparing this pixel to the surrounding 3x3 neighborhoods of different scales, and if this pixel point is local maxima in the 3 point neighborhood of the 3 different scales or minima, you will be declaring it as a potential pixel point. Next comes with the key point localization of after scale space peak selection. In this scales after the scale space peak selection, we will be doing key point localization, in which you will be picking up these potential pixel points which are local maxima in those neighborhoods, and you will be after the this is called key point localization. In this stage, the key points are localized to a subpixel accuracy so that the unstable key points will be eliminated. Means these unstable points may be due to the Gaussian noise or the noise present in the image. And the third part is the orientation assignment. After getting the pixel values, you will be dealing with orientation assignment. This is nothing but the HOG, histogram of oriented gradient, histogram of orientation of gradients. Means if in an image, say if in an image we will be having 16x16, in order to get local, in order to get key point descriptor, you will be having some, see for an image you will be you should have some vector in order to compare these features with another image. Say if the image is 16x16, we will be subdividing the 16x16 into 4x4 sub images, and we will be getting 16 sub images of this 16x16. For each sub image you will be getting, if you calculate HOG, histogram of oriented gradients, means the take the bin size of 8x1. For whole image you need to concatenate this HOG feature vector of one sub image to all the 16 sub images, and you will be getting ultimately 16 8s, 128x1. Hence the final future dimension of the key point descriptor through scale invariant feature transform is 128x1, which is very high, because in practical the images will not be of size 16x16. We will be having image size of 1080 cross some 1080 cross 2340, and at the time key point matching will be very difficult. Hence these are all the things I have explained now only HOG. Hence, see, in order to reduce these key point descriptor dimensions, we will be done with the computational efficiency. Hence this paper doesn't focuses on first three methods, means scale space peak selection, local scale space and scale space key point localization and HOG, but it rather focuses on reducing in dimensions at the log stage, where at key point descriptor. So hence, if the PCA is done on this output of the key point descriptor, we are done with the computational efficiency, because principal component analysis alone reduces the dimensionality of any vector. We'll be seeing how PCA works and how it will be added to the stage of key point descriptor in order to reduce the dimensions of the key point descriptor. Until now we are done with how the key points are detected in an image at any scale. Now from now we will be dealing how PCA is applied to that descriptor, means to that vector describing the key points of that image, and how PCLE really helps in reducing the dimensionality of the shift based local image descriptor. Let us now focus on principal component analysis. or generally the principal component analysis. Take some set of data points in a space, given a collection of data points in a space, maybe 2 or 3 or higher dimensional data space. We have to choose the best fitting line that minimizes the average squared distance from each point to that line. This is called this is the line on which you are going to project these points in order to reduce it to lower dimensional space. This is called the first best fitting line. The next best fitting line can be similarly chosen from the directions perpendicular to the first. This perpendicular line is from the second eigenvector. Repeating this process, you will be getting orthogonal basis in which different individual dimensions of the data are uncorrelated. This is the main important thing in principal component analysis. These basis vectors are known as principal components, and several related procedures. You will be having different procedures for finding the principal component analysis, means the projection, and these are called principal component analysis. Based on the accuracy you want, you need to choose the eigenvectors on which you need normalized eigenvectors on which you are going to project those data points onto those vectors. See, if you want 95% accuracy, you need to take the eigenvalues up. You need to arrange the eigenvalues in the descending order. You need to take the eigenvalues up to which the total accuracy becomes negative, means sum of the eigenvalue in the numerator, sum of the eigenvalues up to some point by total sum of the eigenvalues into 100. This must be the 95. We have to choose the value of the numerator such that it must be 95% accurate. Generally, PCA is mostly this PCA is not only helpful in reduction, but PCA is mostly used as a tool in exploratory data analysis and for making predictive models. It is often used to visualize genetic distance and relatedness between populations. PCA is either done in the following 2 steps. First, you need to calculate the data covariances matrix for the original data and by performing eigenvalue decomposition on the covariance matrix. Means you will be getting some set of data points. You need to find the covariance matrix, 5 eigenvalues, 5 eigenvectors, and arrange the eigenvalues in the descending order, and for the corresponding top eigenvalues you need to choose eigenvectors, and accordingly you need to reduce the dimension of the data points by projecting the data points onto them. Now let us see how PCA reduces the dimensionality of the feature descriptor, local image feature descriptor. Say the YK will be the reduced dimension of the descriptor, ET eigenvector, XK may be the original high dimensional eigenvector, original high dimensional feature vector, and M will be the mean of all the data points, means the mean of all the feature vectors. We can obtain this formula by how can we now I'll be giving some intuition of how we'll be getting this formula. We'll be projecting onto the eigen ET by means it will be the best fitting line, means it can be defined as one that minimizes the average squared distance from a point to that line. If we solve this for all the eigenvectors, calculating the covariance matrices will be obtained with the transformed eigenvector yk is equal to ET into xk minus m. Xk is the initial vector, m is mean of all the vector input data points, et means the eigenvector transpose of eigenvector et. Suppose in the previous slide I have explained how HOG is done to an image, say 16 cross 16. We'll be dividing this into 4 cross 4 blocks, and we'll be getting, after concatenating of all HOGs of each sub-image, we will be getting 128 cross 1 feature vector of the entire image. See, if you want to reduce this 128 cross 128 cross 1 input image, you need to just apply this formula. See xk minus m will xk minus m will be the of 128 cross 1, and et will be 1 cross 128 because it is an eigenvector. Because eigenvectors are for the covariance matrices. Covariance matrix dimension is 128 cross 128. We will be getting eigenvectors as space as 128 cross 1. Transpose will be 1 cross 128. This is the matrix multiplication, and the resulting will be 1 cross 128 into 128 cross 1. Resulting dimension will be 1. See, hence the PCA reduces 128 cross 1 dimensional vector to 1 dimension. This is how PCA helps in reduction of feature descriptors, dimensions. Evaluation. Now comes with evaluation. In this evaluation section, we'll be dealing how we evaluate the SIFT descriptors and PCA based SIFT descriptors. In this, we have divided it into 3 parts: evaluation matrix, experimental setup, and ground truth table. In the evaluation matrix, this is just something explains the results of an experiment. All comparisons, accuracy, computational complexity, etc. can be drawn from this evaluation matrix. In evaluation matrix, there are two methods. One is evaluation matrix, two methods. One is receiver operating characteristics, the other one is recall precision method. Depending upon the scenarios, we will be using these two methods. Generally, ROC is more suitable for evaluating the classifiers, means the images we want to classify, and the recall precision is suitable for evaluating the detectors. As I have said in the previous slide that recall precision is used for detection, here we are using recall precision in this recall precision because given an interest at the key point, they are matching it with the data set. So this is a detection rather than a classification, so we are using recall precision. In this, authors have given their results with the recall versus the one precision. The decisions are taken as follows. First, find all the matching key points in the data set which we are going to take for evaluation. Second, examine the key points from different images. Lastly, find the Euclidean distance of the feature vector between the two images between all the images, and the one vector with less Euclidean distance will be matched. Now going to the correct positive. The correct positive means two key points are matched with same physical location, means this is the correct thing. The false positive means two key points are matched but they are present at different locations, means they are not matched. Just recall is given by the formula. Recall is equal to number of correct positives by total number of positives. One precision is given by the formula number of false positives by total number of matches. We have to have the key points exactly matched at exactly same physical location. In this paper, the authors have generated the recall and one precision graphs by varying the threshold of each algorithm. Now next comes the experimental setup after evaluation matrix. In this paper, the authors have performed 3 types of experiments to find and examine the difference between the standard SIFT and the PCA based SIFT local image descriptors. In the first experiment type, they verified the robustness of the 3 algorithms: standard SIFT, PCA SIFT, and PCA SIFT variant by adding deterministic changes to the images, means noise, adding noise. These changes are adding noise, Gaussian noise, rotating, scaling the image, changing image intensities, etc. Basically the affine transform of the image. In the second experiment type, they have evaluated the performance of the standard SIFT and PCA SIFT algorithms. In this experiment, they have taken real-time datasets such as INRIA, MovieGraph-T datasets. These datasets contains real-time images taken from different viewpoints. Means, see, if you want to match two images, If one image is taken from nearest viewpoint and other image is taken from far viewpoint, the key points will be of different sizes. The same key points will be of different sizes. See, hence the dataset contains real images taken from different viewpoints, helps in correct evaluation. In the third type of experiment type, they have integrated both the standard SIFT and PCA SIFT local image descriptors to retrieve the image. And from the third,
Hi, my name is Naresh. Now I am going to explain about ground truth table. In ground truth table, all the analysis will be in terms of true positives, true negatives, false positives and false negatives. The first three stages of standard SWIFT algorithm is common to both standard SWIFT as well as PCA SWIFT algorithm. These three stages are used to identify the key points of an image. If we are applying this algorithm on a large data set, then we will have a large number of key points. Manually identifying the matches will be extremely time consuming and prone to errors. If you are mapping two images to particular images, then the problem is resolved. If we are introducing transformations or noises intentionally and are deterministic, then these transformations are known as prior. If we are using a dataset like graffiti, then these transformations are known and are given to the users. By using this prior information, we will estimate the efficiency and accuracy of the algorithms. Now let's discuss about the results of the experiment. The results of these three experiments are given as results of control transformation, results of INRIA graffiti dataset, and results of image retrieval experiment. Now let's analyze the results of our first experiment, that is control transformation, which are addition of noise, rotate and scaling the image, reducing image intensity, and projective wrapping the image. First, let's see about the addition of noise. Here, if we see, the PCA SIFT algorithm has outperformed both standard SIFT as well as PCA SIFT variant. The reason is PCA is somewhat robust to Gaussian noise, so its performance doesn't degrade by adding Gaussian noise. But we can have a doubt here, like why the PCA SIFT variant performance is degrading here. Why? The reason is in PCA SIFT variant, we are taking the image pixels itself as the feature vector, whereas in PCA SIFT, we are taking gradients as the feature vector. If we change something in pixels, then its gradient is not affected. But whereas if we change something in pixels, then the pixel values will get affected. That is the reason why PCA SIFT variant degrades gradually. And if we see here, if we have very high false positives, means if we have very high error, then the standard SIFT has outperformed the other two. Now let's discuss about rotating and scaling the image. Here, none of the algorithm has performed well because their recall value is very low. But among them, the PCA SIFT is the best. Now let's discuss about reduced brightness, that is scaling the image intensity. Here, all the algorithms have performed well, but among them, standard SIFT is the best. Now let's see the final part of our experiment, that is projective wrap. Here all the three algorithms have performed well, but if we consider here, means if we have a large number of errors, then standard shift has outperformed the other two algorithms. Finally, if we see overall transformation, that is, if there is any noise, if there is some rotation and scaling, if there is any changes in brightness, or if we have done projective wrapping, then generally PCS shift performs well. But if we have many errors, then standard shift performs very well. Now let's see the second experiment results, that is using INRIA Graphity dataset. If we see the recall values, these are very low, which means neither standard shift nor PCS shift has performed well. But for real world application, small recall values with high precision is acceptable. Here for PCA shift, for every 1000 key points, 50 of them are reliable. This accuracy is sufficient for image retrieval application. Now let's see the results of our third experiment, that is image retrieval. For a real world application, the Graphity dataset results will be different, because in real world the scenes may or may not be planar and may contain occlusion and reflective surfaces. For image retrieval, first of all, we'll find the feature vector of all the images. Then the feature vector of one image is compared with the feature vector of all other images, and a threshold is applied for comparison. If the feature vectors are in threshold limit, then they are considered as a match. The authors have treated the number of matches as similarities between the two images. The threshold applied is of large number, and in real world applications, wide range of threshold values will give good results. From the results, it is clear that PCS shift has a very high accuracy when compared with standard shift algorithm. Here we can see the number of correct matches, 4 out of 10, whereas for PCA it is 9 out of 10. If we consider the Graphity dataset, then using shift we have got 6 out of 10 correct key point matches, and for PCA shift we have got 10 out of 10 correct matches. These results clearly show that PCA shift has high accuracy than standard shift algorithm. The reason why there are very less matches for standard shift, because the standard shift algorithm is confused by the edges of several objects in the image. Now let's compare both the standard shift as well as PCA shift algorithm for a particular key point. Here our key point is this dot. This is the zoomed version of it. First, let's apply standard shift. Here the key point is matched and is given as third rank, whereas for PCA shift algorithm the key point is matched and is given rank 1. This clearly shows that PCA shift algorithm is much accurate than standard shift algorithm. Now let's compare the computational time of standard shift as well as PCA shift. Here for localization and input output, both the algorithms will take same amount of time. For representation also, both take nearly equal amount of time. But for matching, there is a quite big difference. The reason is that the shift algorithm feature vector is very large when compared with PCA shift algorithm. This reduction in dimensionality of the feature vector makes the PCA shift algorithm faster than standard shift algorithm. Till now, we have seen that PCA shift gives good results and accuracy. But what is the reason behind it? This can be clearly explained from the below graph, that is normalized eigenvalues versus component graph. If we see the two curves, that is key point gradient curve and random gradient curve, the key point gradient curve decays more rapidly when compared with random gradient curve. This proves our assumption that small number of dimensional feature vector is sufficient to represent key points of an image, which makes the PCA much more efficient and faster. We are using PCA shift, which is based on eigenspace, but each eigenspace is sensitive to the images. The previous experimental result shows that eigenspaces obtained from the key points of different images are consistent, and PCA shift doesn't require to train the eigenspace specifically for testing the images. To verify this, the authors have performed two experiments, one with rotational changes and the other with projective wrapping. These results show that there is a very slight variation between using the same and different eigenspaces. Here, same eigenspace means eigenspace trained using the key point patches from the test set. Different eigenspace means using the standard eigenspaces. This clearly shows that PCA shift performance is not sensitive to the images used in creating the eigenspace, and the eigenspaces need not to be trained. The eigenspace length also affects the result. To see how it affects on the results, the authors have performed different experiments using different eigenspace length vectors. From those results, the authors have concluded that if we take the eigenspace length of 36, then we can achieve best matching performance. The reason is that if we take the eigenspace length as small, then the information loss is very high. If we take the eigenspace length very large, we are considering the noise as well as undesirable components into it. So, if we take relatively good number of eigenspace length, then there will be a minimum information loss and high accuracy. The reason for success of the shift algorithm is it is robust to localization errors, but PCA is sensitive to registration errors. Even after adding registration errors like addition of noise, scaling the intensity, etc., PCA shift has performed very well. This we have observed from our first experiment results. But if the errors are introduced in orientation and scaling the image, then the PCA shift starts degrading. The below graph shows that standard shift is very good at handling the errors, but its functionality like centering, orienting, and scaling the key points is never observed in practice. These graphs are obtained by adding errors directly into the feature localization stage. When the localization is corrupted by errors in rotation or scaling, shift outperforms PCA shift. The reason is shift is specifically designed to be robust against detector errors. Now let's see the conclusion of this paper. This paper introduced an alternate representation of local image descriptor for SWIFT algorithm. PCA-SWIFT is more distinctive and accurate when compared with standard SWIFT in both controlled as well as real-world conditions. Here, controlled conditions mean by adding deterministic changes to the images. PCA is suited for capturing variations in the gradient image of a key point, which is localized in scale, pace, and orientation. In this paper, the authors have added the advantages of PCA method into standard SWIFT algorithm to make it more robust and accurate as well as computationally efficient. This is the conclusion of this paper. Thank you.